Just shoot for the stars. If it feels right, then aim for my heart. If you feel like, take me away and make it okay. I swear.
Hi everyone, so I'm really excited to be back with this particular video. I mentioned it in my last video that I'll be talking all about my pink car, and if you haven't seen it, you probably saw it in the thumbnail, and here's another photo up here of my car. Now I'll just give a heads up for anyone that is not interested in getting their car wrapped or customizing their car, you're going to find this video probably pretty boring. So I thought I'd just give you a little disclaimer, but for those of you who are interested in customizing your car, please watch on. So the first thing I want to say is a big thank you to Wayne from Custom Graphics and everyone else that worked there who worked on my car. They did the most amazing job, and I want to get into a little bit later on why it's very important that you pick the right people for the job when it comes to wrapping your car, because it can make the difference between it looking amazing and it looking like a piece of crap, basically. But I'll get into that in a little while. So for those of you guys who, I don't know if you ever knew that I've always wanted a pink car. It's just been one of those silly things that I've always wanted in my life, and you know, it's a pretty, there's not that many pink cars out there, especially in the colour I wanted, which is this colour here, the satin finish over on this side. We were tossing up between the satin and the gloss, and I ended up deciding that the satin looked a little bit more kind of, I guess sophisticated isn't the right word for a pink car, but it just looked more expensive and it just looked better on the car, so we ended up going for the satin finish. This is something that I always wanted, and a lot of people are going to think, you know, what a waste of money, or why do that, or whatever, and that's fair enough. But if you're going to leave a comment about how you think it's stupid that I spent so much money on getting my car pink, please don't waste your time, because this is something, like I said, I always wanted. And you know, ever since I saw like Angeline and her car and all these other people, I always just wanted a ridiculous Barbie car. And finally, as an adult, I'm living my Barbie dreams and I'm driving around in my very own little pink Barbie convertible. So I'm really happy about that. But there is a lot to consider when it comes to getting your car custom done. The first thing I'm going to talk about is kind of the pros and the cons of wrapping compared to getting a paint job. Personally, I would never consider getting a car painted. It's a very, very big procedure, very time consuming, very costly, and very irreversible. So I'll start off with all the pros of getting a car wrap. The first is that it is reversible. So a car wrap is essentially a vinyl film which is heated up with a kind of heat gun and stretched over the car to change the colour, or you can do a panel, or even I know the place that I go to that they wrap a lot of really expensive cars like Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and they just put a clear film over it that you can't see, and it just protects the car. So one of the benefits of getting the wrap is that it actually protects the paintwork underneath. It kind of acts like a barrier against sun damage and scratches. So when it comes time to sell your car, it's really great because you can just remove the wrap if you want to. I don't know when I will sell my car, or if I will sell my car. It was my dream car to have the one that I have now. And the reason, a good reason for me to wrap my car, is that my car is not a very common car. It's quite a rare one, and they don't really make them anymore. So I didn't really want to devalue the car by making it pink, and also when it comes time to sell it, it could be hard to sell a pink car. And all I need to do when I come to sell the car is I can remove the wrap, and the car will be exactly the same underneath. And it's protected the paintwork underneath for all that time. Another benefit of having a wrapped car is that if something by, you know, some disaster happens and you get a scratch on a panel or a dent on the panel, you don't have to get the entire car redone. I know that when it comes to painting a car and one panel gets messed up, if you paint it, it often looks a different colour to the rest of the car. With this, you can just replace that one panel, and you're done. So it's really great for that. Like I said before, it doesn't take that long when it comes to wrapping a car. Mine took, I think, about 3 or 4 days. The great thing is that they don't have to pull the car apart like they do when it comes to painting a car. I know I heard recently that Trisha Paytas on YouTube, she had some disasters happen with I think, was it West Coast Custom or whatever it is in America, and her BMW, they pulled it apart and painted it, and what happens when they put it back together is all these electrical faults were wrong with the car. So there's not a chance of anything getting messed up with the car when it comes to wrapping, because they don't have to pull the car apart. Another benefit is that with wraps you can get all these really amazing finishes. Like with my car, I have a satin finish, so it's not a gloss and it's not a matte, it's kind of in between, so it just has this really nice sheen to it. And some of those finishes aren't really available in paint, or they're harder to achieve with paint. It's a lot easier with a vinyl wrap. The main benefit for me, I think, is cost. It can cost you upwards of $8,000 or $9,000, I'm pretty sure it is, to get a really good paint job done to your car. And a wrap costs about a quarter of the cost of a paint job. So I guess I'll just talk a little bit about the cost. So is it worth the money? Well, that is purely subjective. I mean, for me it was worth the money. I really recommend going to somewhere that has a good reputation. If you've been quoted less than a couple of $1,000s to get your entire car wrapped, then I probably wouldn't be going to that place. The reason that it's very important to go to somewhere that is very qualified is not only the overall look of the car when it's finished, but also when they are applying the wrap, and if it's not done properly, things like when they're cutting the wrap, they can by mistake cut into your paintwork with a knife and damage it. And also cheaper wraps, if you don't know what vinyl they are, they can leave a residue on the car or even rip the paint off your car. So it's really not worth cutting corners when it comes to that kind of thing. The 4 brands that I would look out for that places using is Avery, which is what my car is wrapped in, 3M, Hexus, and I think it's Avalon or Arlon. Yeah, so there's no guarantee with a cheap place that you're going to get a good job on your car. For the cons with a car wrap, there are only a few that I really want to point out. The first is that it doesn't last as long as a paint job. This is a pretty obvious one, but generally, if you know my car's undercover and you take care of it and everything like that, it should last you upwards of 3-5 years plus. And paint job pretty much lasts forever until you want to change it. So that's one. And the second one is just, I think, the startup like outlay costs. And that's pretty much all I can think of when it comes to cons of a wrap. Up here I'm just going to put a quick little section of footage of my car getting wrapped. So yeah, I had a few different people work on it. Like I said, they did a really amazing job, so thank you so much, guys. And with any good wrap, they will kind of give it like a guarantee for the first year, I think. That if anything happens to it that isn't meant to happen to it, they will guarantee it. So it's really important that you look for that as well. The last kind of thing I want to talk about is just how I take care of my car wrap. So the first thing I do is just use, I don't know if this, I think this isn't a worldwide thing, but I use this brand Meguiar's. I use the Gold Class car wash with one of these little dudes. And then I use a speed dryer. I'll show you, hang on. So I just use the speed dryer after that. Then I clean the wheels with these little wheel wipey things, which I get from Daiso, they're really cheap. And then I use the Meguiar's No Smear Glass Cleaner. And then once a month I will clean the interior of my car, and I'll use the interior detailer wipes from Meguiar's as well, and I will vacuum it. One thing I want to say that they should tell you at the place where you're getting it done is that you use the correct detailer for your car wrap. So this one is Shining Monkey Type 2 detailer, which is safe on all matte finishes and vinyl wraps. So it's especially made for my car. and then I just use one of these little dudes to buff that in. And I clean my car like twice a month or maybe more because I like it to look really perfect. So yeah, that was the main kind of questions I was getting asked about a wrap. There's so many possibilities and it's just such a really great way to have a really unique car. So yeah, I'm really happy with the job that Custom Graphics did. I provide all their details down in the description box below if you want to check out any of their other work. And yeah, I mean, that's I guess all I have to say about my car. I finally, you know, after all these years got my dream car, but I would 100% recommend, if you want to custom your car, getting a car wrap. Make sure you really research it, guys, because you don't want to like mess up your car. But until next time, I will be back with a video very soon, and thank you so much for watching. Okay, bye!